Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Law and You, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on One Accord TV. My name is Kenneth Mbabu from Kenya Mbabu and Company Advocates. We are based at Muthaiga Square. Like I promised you last time, the month of November and December will be dealing with the family series. Family involves marriage, involves children, involves properties, involves death, involves wills, involves maybe someone has died without a will, involves even prenups, maybe if you have agreements before marriage. But at the end of the day, sometimes when two people get married, things do not work out right. And sometimes they end up divorcing. And today we'll be having a discussion on divorce. Yes, I know this is a topic that is a little bit cagey when it comes to the church, but we are alive to the fact that some of our members are going through this and would like them to go through it the right way. Yes, God hates divorce, but does not hate the people. Even in the customary times, during in the olden days, the wazes would take a lady back and even pay back the dowry sometimes whenever two people do not work out or they are unable to live together. And to take us through this topic on divorce, we have a wonderful guest, Eliud Ngugi from Ngugi Mboro Advocates, based at Nyumba Bora in Karen. Ngugi, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and tell the people who you are.
Thank you for having me on your show today. As you have mentioned, my name is Eliud Ngugi. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and also the managing partner of Ngugi Mboro Advocates.
Thank you very much. But before we go to the topic today of divorce, from the last show, we have two questions that people had asked and I would like just to go over them. One is, someone had asked, if you have an affidavit, affidavit, people like calling it affidavit, are you legally married? And from our last show, when we talked about the 5 types of marriages, affidavit was not one of them. Yes, once in a while, NHIF, when you want to register your spouse or your children in the NHIF scheme, they can allow you. But for the people who are not married, but please, 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 go and get married. The second question was, if I want to get married to someone from another country, what is the process? Maybe I'm a man or maybe I'm a lady, and I want to get married to a person from another country. The thing is this, the person who is from outside the country, if you remember from our series on the types of marriages, we talked about you need a certificate of no impediment, proving to you, or that is supposed to be taken to your pastor to say this person is certified by the AG, now you can marry this person. The same thing, if someone is coming from Uganda, Tanzania, Zanzibar, US, Canada, Australia, wherever, they will be required to go to their registrar of marriages in their country and come out with a certificate. That certificate of no impediment showing that this person in the United States or the UK or even Somali was not married. Then with that certificate, they would give it to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and the Foreign Affairs Ministry can give it to the High Commission in this place, and the High Commissioner can give you a letter that you take to the Registrar of Marriages. Please, if you're having someone who is coming outside to get married to you, before they come, let them have the certificate of no impediment. After that, you go to your e-citizen, register your marriage, or you go to your AG, maybe even in Mombasa, Kisumu, Embu, Machakos, Meru. There are all AG's offices. Register your marriage and you'll be able to be married. But today, we are talking issues divorce. Wakili.
Yes.
If I get married under the civil or Christian marriage, can I divorce if it refuses each other? Can we unleft each other? Yes. Young people are saying lefting. Can I unleft each other with my spouse or my wife or husband?
That's a very common factor that happens. Like I think you said that sometimes marriages do not work, and when they do not work, we have a reprieve, or we have a way of helping you, and the laws of Kenya allow you to actually leave. But the one condition given is that you cannot leave immediately after you get married.
So I cannot get married today and leave tomorrow.
You cannot.
And I want a divorce next week.
Yes. But you have to, if you actually really need to leave, you have to prove to the court that it is really important or very urgent that your stay in that marriage is going to maybe become a threat to your life.
And was the law put that caveat? Was it put because they also understand sometimes you may enter into marriage and you find it rocky, and 6 months down the line you guys are friends again. Was that the reason, or why do they put that 1 year, 3 years that you cannot divorce before this time has passed? But this is not about the law, just speculative. Why do they do that?
I believe the reason why we do that is because, one, the institution of marriage forms a major basis in our laws. And that's why we have a provision for family under our constitution. And so because the country believes so much that if we have a strong family, then we are going to have a continuous generation that is able to make decisions in this country and make bring growth in our country. Then that's why they may regulate how long one has to stay in this institution and when they can leave, because they believe that you cannot just get into it and just leave.
What is the duration that maybe you can start your divorce if you want to start your divorce?
The duration to start the divorce, according to some of the provisions provided, within 1 year of being in that marriage. And you have to prove that you have gone through that, you have been separated for some time, or that there are different reasons. This being, number one, maybe there was cruelty, that maybe the person you are living with is not very gentle with you, or maybe they are causing you emotional pain and psychological pain. The other one is desertion, which is where if, let's say, your spouse or your partner leaves you and decides to disappear for some time, maybe for more than 1 year or 2 years, and you are not aware about their whereabouts, you have a ground to actually go to court and file for a divorce. The other reason is if your partner or your spouse has also been imprisoned for more than 7 years or a life sentence. So if you are imprisoned, then you can also go to court and seek to actually leave this institution.
Because this person has deserted you.
Deserted you?
Yeah.
Or that there is no likelihood of you being
coming
together
back again. Maybe before we go, because I know on the grounds, people would like we delve into the grounds. Maybe I would like to ask, the Marriage Act provides for 3 years. That's when you are supposed to divorce or start a divorce process. But I've heard you mention 1 year. Maybe where did this come from?
This was a case filed in court whereby the party went and proved that there was actually need for them to be allowed to divorce.
They could not wait for 3 years.
They could not wait for 3 years. And the court went ahead and declared that that provision under the Marriage Act then would be changed to instead read 1 year.
To read 1 year.
Yeah, and not the 3 years. So you can divorce within a period of 1 year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the court has also made it very clear that you need to prove that all alternative dispute mechanisms have been followed. As in we have tried to talk to our pastor, to our parents, to our counselor, to imams, to elders, and by the time we are coming for this divorce, some of the grounds you're talking about, it has become extreme. You had spoken about cruelty, the issues of divorce being 5. There's cruelty, there's infidelity, there's separation for a long period of time, the desertion. There's also the issue of irreconcilable differences. We have differences that even I don't want to talk about, but we cannot return. But our viewers need to learn that before the 2014, there were only 3 reasons for divorcing. One was cruelty, adultery, and desertion. And people, you had to write how that person is very bad for you to be allowed to divorce. But I think after this, they added 2 grounds to make it a little bit easier, of which I know from the church point of view, it would want to make it harder for people to divorce because it's an institution we respect. But the law put this new clause of irreconcilable differences. Maybe you can take us through the grounds what does the law mean when it talks about cruelty, desertion, and infidelity, issues of the differences, and also if someone is not supporting you enough? I think now there are 5. Yeah, so maybe you can take us through each one of them?
So there is, like you've mentioned, adultery, whereby if your partner is unfaithful, your spouse becomes unfaithful, then that becomes a ground and you have to come to court and prove how your partner has become unfaithful. So in most instances, when a client comes to me, I will ask them to actually provide evidence. And this evidence may be photographic, probably they have photos of a person, or they have text messages, or they are actually aware of a person who their spouse is maybe cheating with. And then there's an issue of cruelty, whereby this is where a spouse may become very, maybe unhuman, for lack of a better word.
An animal.
An animal. Yeah. And they decide to maybe beat you up. And so in that case, I will ask you as a client, do you have an OB report?
Yeah, when you are beaten, did you go to the police? It's now you've discovered you are beaten.
Yes. Yeah. Or do you have a psychiatrist report? Have you actually gone for counseling? Are you able to say that you have gone for counseling because of the kind of depression that you have gone through caused by this partner? And then the other one is depravity, the other ground, whereby, for example, you're married and your husband denies you, let's say, money. You're a housewife, but your man does not support you, does not provide food, or does not take you to the hospital when you are ill, or does not even educate your child. So there's that ground of depravity.
Amenyima pesa.
Umenyimwa pesa, and you cannot live with that.
So what you are saying is that even for husbands, if our wives wakitunyima pesa sana, we can go to court also, and this does not apply to women alone, even for us men.
Yes.
Do you know the boy shout, ameumia miaka mingi sana, yeah? Okay.
Yes. Then the fourth one is desertion, where desertion is where your spouse leaves and you are not aware about their whereabouts. And this used to happen a lot in the traditional setup whereby a small argument, the wife would take her bags,
leave to another town.
Leave for another town and disappear.
And that time there was no social media to find them.
There was no way to find them.
Someone is in Kisumu, you're in Mombasa.
Yes, and they disappear. And now, currently, if they do that to you, and they leave and you're not aware about where they went to, then you can actually file a case and seek to be divorced, requesting for a divorce. And so then the last one is the irretrievable breakdown of marriage. And this is as simple as we cannot agree on issues, maybe because of our personalities. Wewe unaongeanga sana na mimi I don't understand why you talk a lot or you snore at night, and maybe you cannot live with it.
With that.
Yes, and you are having such issues that you're not able to agree on, that may cause you not to agree.
So what we are saying is that unlike what we are told in the past, it's not a must you have been beaten, you're in hospital. If you see them coming, you can go to court and be like, this one, I don't feel you can live together. Because of these grounds of 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone is shouting at me. Someone is emotionally abusive.
Yes.
Things like those. Okay. Now, there's something you said about the divorce. Now, maybe our viewers would like to know, yes, we have all those issues, but now how do I approach the court? How do I go to court? How do I just appear before the chief? Maybe, and tell the chief that, chief, mi nataka tuachane. Do I appear before the pastor? Because you remember the pastor is the one who, if you're in a Christian marriage, is the one who joined you. If you're in the AG, you went to the AG for him to join, and for Muslim and Hindu and customary. Do you go to the people who joined you, or where do you go to? When
you actually have gotten to that point where, like we've said, you have discovered your partner is cheating.
Yeah.
And you have come across that information from maybe their mobile phone. You've seen the text messages. What you need to do is approach a lawyer who is actually a professional in these issues, and they have an understanding of the law. So they'll be able to guide you and tell you how to go about it. And this will be, what happens is that when you come to us as lawyers, we will be able to tell you to prepare a document we call a petition.
A petition.
Which is more of a prayer.
Yeah.
Whereby the document states who you are, how long you are married, where you are married, whether this marriage was blessed with any children, where you cohabited together, where you lived together. Was it Kisumu, Nairobi, then you went to Meru? And so in this document, then you are able to also break down now these grounds that we have given. That on this date,
things started eating each other.
Yes, so you break down or you narrate and say, what brings you to this court? Why would you like a divorce? So you're able to say, because of number one,
he's beating me up.
He has been beating me up. On this date, he beat me up. I went to my parents. On this other day, he beat me up. I went to the police. On this other day, I could not stay in that home, so I disappeared for 2 weeks. So you're able to break that down and then ask the court, which is what we call a prayer. Ask the court, because of this kind of cruelty caused by my spouse, I would like the court to grant me a divorce.
A divorce.
Yes.
So when you file that, and maybe for purposes of clarity, it's good to go to a lawyer, but you can do it to yourself. But it will be very hard for you. Please get a lawyer. So, will you be able, after that, you are filed in court, I have now my case number, I go give the other person, or if I just do the prayer, I'm divorced?
No. Once you have prepared this document, you're going to sign the document. And once you sign this document, we present this petition in court at the registry, whereby we register it. It's given a number, and once it is given a number, you are told to take this document using somebody we call a registered, what do we call this? A process server. We get this process server to take these documents to your husband who you are leaving, to make sure that they are aware that you are leaving them. We don't want you to be left, to be ghosted, in other words. So you are required to actually come back to court and say, I actually took these documents using a registered process server, and they went to this person's home, or they went to his workplace or her workplace, and they presented the document, and I have come back to tell this court that they are aware of the divorce. And once the other spouse learns about the divorce, they are required to actually either respond or not to respond. They have a choice.
They can refuse to respond, or they can respond.
Yes.
But my divorce process will still go on.
Your divorce will go on condition that you tell them you have served them, and you're able to prove to the court that you have served them. So if you have already served them, what is expected after that is that you request the registrar to allow you to proceed on to the hearing of this divorce.
And maybe for clarity, the registrar is not the registrar of marriage. At this point, is the court. So you make an application to court for a registrar's certificate for the divorce to proceed. Either undefended, if your spouse did not answer it, or defended if he answered it, and you get a hearing in court. So after the hearing, what happens?
So during the hearing, if it is defended, it means that this person responded and countered and gave his response and said, it is not true, I have not cheated. Or it is not true, I have abused my spouse. Or it is not true, I have left my spouse. And so during the hearing, you are expected to give your evidence. So you will stand at the stand, what we call
kutoa ushahidi.
Utaapishwa to speak the truth, the only truth. And once you are on that stand, then you narrate the case, and the other person will come and question you to make sure that nothing is left in doubt, that there is some truth that comes out of this case. Because remember, the court is not aware, does not live in your house, does not even know you, and so they need to get the truth. And the only way of getting the truth is if we question. So if for example, you as Kenneth Babu, you are divorcing.
God forbid.
God forbid. But let's imagine
let's imagine. No, let's use someone else. Someone
okay, let's use
divorcing.
John.
Yeah, John.
John is divorcing.
And John, sorry, you're not divorcing in Jesus' name.
And was married to Mary. And on this day of the hearing, John has come and said that Mary has been cruel because Mary has not been making dinner, has not even been sleeping on the same bed,
washing clothes,
etc. Mary has a chance to come and counter this and say, no, I have actually been doing this.
So if they come and refuse, what happens?
They refuse that they...
Me, I don't want a divorce. Me, I love my husband or I love my wife.
So what happens is that the court is very gracious and understanding. And it says that it does not force two people to be together if one of them is not interested.
So the divorce will still go on?
It will still proceed.
Maybe the other question, because of time, can we, me and my wife, can we come to court and be like, as we want, can we collude to divorce? We have agreed. So kuja kotini, mimi nataka kumdivorce. Yes, in fact, tuliketi jana tukakubaliana to divorce. Can the court allow that?
No, the court does not allow you to collude. And actually, that is one of the statements that you put in your petition.
That you have, this petition is not, it has not come with
some agreement that we have agreed.
This is important because if you can sit down and agree to divorce, means you can sit down and agree to solve your issues. So, as we said, the court also is alive to the fact that marriage is work, beautiful work. And because of that, they give you a chance. If two people are talking, they can be able to have it. So after the hearing, because of time, Wakili, so what next?
So after the
court
hearing,
has agreed, what happens? Do I walk out, I'm divorced?
No, after you've done the hearing, the court has already recorded. So it is left to make a decision. So the magistrate will sit back, or the judge is going to sit back, and do what we call write a judgment. And say that she or he is convinced that you committed this act, or this ground was fulfilled, the ground of cruelty, or the ground of adultery, or the ground of desertion, or the ground of depravement has been fulfilled. And so they are going to grant the divorce. And what happens is that you, after they issue that judgment, you go back, or rather, it comes out with something we call a decree nisi.
Decree nisi.
Yes, and this is where the court gives you a chance to maybe reconcile and see whether you're able to
they also are alive to the fact that maybe even after the divorce and the judgment, you can come back together. There's a joke that says, mambo ya watu wawili wachana nayo. So because I think because of that, you get after the judgment, you get a divorce decree nisi. And Wakili, you are saying about something giving time? So
you're given, the court may give you 30 days to actually see whether you're able to agree. And after those 30 days, if you come back and say you have agreed, then the court will not grant the final decree. But if you have not agreed, the court is going to give you what we call a decree absolute. So decree nisi absolute. Absolute and is final. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, your marriage is closed. You can also see that marriage was sacred and made by God. And that's the reason even for the court and the law gives time for people to discuss, even after going through the judgment. We have instances of lawyers, the day for the hearing, you see people walking together and they're like, Judge, niko na kitu ya kusema. Naomba tumesikizana. So the court allows that so much if you're able to talk and So Wakili, when you get this decree nisi and decree nisi absolute, does it mean also now we have divided the children, we have divided our properties, or what happens to the children and the properties now? What happened to the children and the properties is that this is not the place to discuss the children and the properties. There is a special court that deals with children issues, and there's another court that will deal with matrimonial property. The property. Yes. So what we are saying is that whenever you're dealing with marriage, after marriage, and you have God blessed you with children, means you do a divorce, file
utafungua file na wakili moja ya divorce, then there will be a second file ya children which can run concurrent.
Yes.
Ukifanya hii case unafanya hii, but now when you finish the issue of divorce, you do another case for division of matrimonial property. I think what is also we need to make it clear is that you cannot divide the property before you are divorced. So you have to finish the divorce process first. You cannot rush with that. And that's the reason why we're saying it's a family series. You can see those are 3 different things, and today we were dealing on the issue of divorce. Wakili, when you get the decree nisi, absolute, what happens? Am I divorced? I just walk around Nairobi shouting I'm divorced. I'm Kisumu. What happens?
No, you're not, because number one, I think in your previous show you talked about a register of marriages.
A register of marriages, yeah.
Where there's a registrar who has a record that says that you're married.
Yeah.
And so after your divorce, you need to take that decree nisi, absolute, to take it to that registrar of marriages to update that registrar that
you are
no longer married. Yes.
And maybe, ladies and gentlemen, you need also to know that in the past, the court would send that to the registrar of marriages. Ideally, that's a formula, but now because also we are a lot of people. So when you get the decree nisi absolute, take it to the AG's chambers. The AG chambers will update, or if they need be, they can check with the court registry to confirm that this decree nisi absolute is genuine. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is not our side. Just like we have done like 5 minutes. That today we're doing on divorce. We'll be with Wakili next Tuesday to come and speak on issues properties. The moment now we have fought, we have finished our divorce, what happens to the properties that we acquired? There are properties written in the husband's name, the wife's name alone, properties written in both names. What happens to those properties? Maybe you can give a closing remark before we close the show on anything.
Like we started, marriages don't work, but also I believe marriages should work, and we should make sure that we water the grass and do what we need to do to make sure that we are in a long-lasting marriage, that we are not out of that marriage. But if it cannot happen, let it be the last resort.
Let it be the last resort.
The last resort for you to actually decide to walk out of it.
Thank you very much, Eliud Ngoge, Wakili. I've been your host, Kenneth Babu. Yes, marriages, work on your marriage. Let it be the last resort. As we said, we are living in times that we realize that divorce happens. We do not advocate and do it. It's our prayer from the law and you that our marriages will work, our marriages will last. But in case that you need to take that route, we believe that today's show has been educative. Let's meet next Tuesday at 8 p.m. for another show, The Law and You. May God bless you.